So I just want to touch on the three personas that you're going to see and hear about. The first being the director of maintenance. Ultimately, that's just the person responsible for overseeing logistics and throughput, kind of the task master, if you will. Then we have the mechanics who are performing the maintenance and documenting the corrective actions. And then finally, a role that we're just calling inspector, which is the person responsible for ensuring the quality, airworthiness, and doing logbook entries. We are building this in such a way that it's going to be permission based, just like all the rest of our products. So I don't want you to think these are exclusive personas. Obviously, a person can wear one to all of these hats. We're going to start with a little bit of setup, and we do this because it helps to better understand kind of what you see at the time of work orders being created. So I'm going to hop over to our templates. As you know, earlier in the year, we did a bunch of work around our maintenance reminder templates. And the reason we've kind of been pushing templates and to organize your fleet around make and model is because we are introducing the features I'm about to show you. So I have a Cessna 182 100-hour inspection template here. I'm gonna go ahead and view that template. And the first thing that you're gonna see is we've added a work items section down at the bottom. So this is where you will go and actually define the work, the tasks, the jobs to be done each time this 100-hour inspection becomes due. So I'm going to go ahead and click add here. I'm going to type in a name, and that's going to be the 100-hour checklist. You'll be able to select the type of work that you want done. So this will help you to classify the work into categories, and these will be customizable, but I'm going to go ahead and select 100-hour. And generally it takes me around 20 hours to complete the checklist aspect of the inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and add an attachment here where I'm going to select my checklist and go ahead and open that and attach it to the work item. And then I'm going to start adding a work log. And I'm going to type out ultimately a templated response of what will ultimately become the logbook entry. And this was what will get created for all of my tails on this template each time this reminder comes due. So I'm going to type out performed 100-hour inspection in accordance with da 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 da. And then I'm leaving some spaces here for me to go enter actual dates when this becomes due, or when I complete this actual work. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to add some more work, and we're going to kind of jump ahead a little bit here. And just to show you the concepts. So I've now added 3 work items to my maintenance reminder template. Got my 100-hour checklist, and I have 2 ADs that I check every time this becomes due. So again, that's just kind of the setup. Now let's take a look at what creating a work order does in the actual product. So in this particular story, we're looking at the schedule, and I noticed that my tail 5678 here is coming due for maintenance in approximately 10 hours of flight time. And I've got a window here where I don't have any activity on this particular tail. So let's kind of jump ahead to the following week, and it looks like I get pretty busy on the following Monday or Tuesday. So I'm going to take the opportunity that I have while there's no reservations to go ahead and get the aircraft in for maintenance. So I'm going to open up our maintenance status. This should look familiar at this point. We just introduced this about probably about a month ago. And I can see here that what's coming due is this 100-hour inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and create a work order off of that. And if I click on that 100-hour inspection, you're going to see the work items that I defined on my template just a few minutes ago. So I have my 100-hour checklist, my 2 ADs. So I definitely want to get that done. I noticed that this ELT battery is coming due in 15 hours approximately. So I'm going to go ahead and include that as well. But now I also noticed that I've got an active squawk on this aircraft. Looks like the tires are a little bit scuffed. So I'm going to go ahead and include that as well and put a labor amount in there. Obviously, this is ad hoc maintenance, so just with my quick assessment, it would probably take around 2 hours. So I've got 5 work items total: my 100-hour, my 2 um, ADs, my battery check, and my squawk. And I'm going to go ahead and create that work order. So what I've done at this point is I've got my work order here. I've got my tail information already associated to it on my overview. I've got my status where I see my 34 hours of estimated time, the 5 work items total. And so I'm going to go ahead and edit the work order and put in an estimated start date and an estimated complete date. Do that, save it. And now I'm going to go ahead and create my maintenance reservation. So there wasn't one on the schedule, but I want to go ahead and put one out there so that no reservations sneak onto the schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new maintenance reservation. I've got that done. And now I'm going to take a look at my 5 work items. Again, here's the same set of work that you've seen a few times now. I'm going to edit this first one. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to Debbie and John. So Debbie is one of my newer mechanics, never done a 100-hour in this particular shop yet. So I'm going to go ahead and assign both of them and have them work on that one together. But now you're also seeing down here, I've got that templated logbook entry that I set up on my maintenance reminder as well. So I've already started the logbook entries, and for every single one of my 182s that are associated to this maintenance reminder template, they're all going to get that same starting template for their 100-hour checklist. So we're going to jump ahead again, and I'm going to get all of these assigned. So again, I've got Debbie and John on this first one. John's going to take the rest of these. And at this point, the work is ready to begin. So we're going to jump over to our mechanic and take a look at what John sees when he starts his day. So John logs in and he just wants to see the work that's assigned to him. So he's going to open up this first work order here and click on the 100-hour checklist because he's ready to begin work. And at this point, we're going to go over to the attachments. We're going to open up our annual inspection checklist. This is the same checklist that was associated to our maintenance reminder. And I'm going to print that off, go grab it off the printer, and begin doing my work at the aircraft. So again, we're going to kind of jump ahead again to now showing you what happens after the mechanic completes their inspection. So they're going to come back over to here. We're going to edit this, and we're going to attach the completed version of my checklist so you can see all of my comments and notes on there. I'm going to associate it. So this is just, again, helping manage some of the paper and associating it to the actual work. So we've got the original blank checklist and the completed checklist. So now I'm going to click back over to my work logs and enter the dates into this work log here. So completed the work on 10/5. I'm going to go ahead and close this work item because it's essentially done at this point. So now this one's closed. If you open that back up again, you can kind of see what that looks like when it's not being edited. But I'm going to go ahead and click on add work item, and I'm going to give this a name. So as I was doing that inspection or that checklist, I found a bunch of issues on the aircraft that I need to get documented to be fixed. So discrepancies found in inspection, and I'm just going to start adding some work manually. So this particular corrective action is going against the airframe. Replace right forward nose gear, door hinge brackets with some new ones. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep adding work logs to this, and this time I'm going to add one to the engine. And we're going to again kind of jump ahead a little bit and show you what many of these work logs look like. So again, this is all in my discrepancies found. So I've got, looks like 3 on the airframe here, 1 on the engine, and I'm pretty happy with all of that. So I'm going to save all of that work, and I'm going to jump back over to the overview, and I'm going to go ahead and add a note. So notes are internal to the employees or the users of Flight Schedule Pro, they'll never get shown on any customer facing documentation, but it allows some communication back and forth. So found lots of issues during the inspection, took a little longer than I expected. I'm going to go ahead and save that note on the work order. All right, so next let's hop over and look at the inspector's view of this. So the inspector takes a look at the schedule, sees that we've got an aircraft in active maintenance, and kind of hovers on that maintenance reservation and notices that all of the work appears to be done. So there were 6 total work items there, but all of them look like they're closed. So he's going to go ahead and jump into the maintenance status modal as well, and he'll see again all of the open work orders currently on that tail. So we're going to click on our work order here, and at this point he's looking at everything that the mechanics have documented. So if we expand this out, he sees all of those work logs that the mechanic added. He's probably made a trip to the tail and actually taken a look at the work that was done. But we're going to click over here on the history, and this is just showing a running list of changes to the work item. And again, this is to kind of help with some of those compliance aspects to make sure that we can track how the work has been changed, who made the changes, and things of that nature. We can come up here to the top and take a look at the history again across the entire work order. So previously we were just looking at a single work item, but all of that history will roll up to the work order as well. And again, it's just to make sure that we can track everything that's been documented on the aircraft to satisfy those compliance needs. So at this point, I'm going to hop over to the logbooks tab. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate my logbook entries. So when I click that button, we go and look at all of the work items on this work order, look at all of the work logs, and we're going to group those by the logbook type. So that's why I selected airframe engine as I was documenting my corrective actions, or as the mechanic was documenting their corrective actions. So we're going to group all that together. I can obviously pick and choose which work logs I want to include, but I'm pretty good with those as is. I'm going to add them to our logbooks. And basically what happens then is we take all of that text and we smash it together into a logbook entry. But you'll notice a couple other things that happened here. So we appended this line at the top, which adds the created date, the tail number, the serial number, what the HOBS and total time in service is. We also added down below our return to service memo. So this is configurable for each logbook type, but that automatically gets appended to the front and back of each logbook entry. We scroll down here, take a look at our engine. Same deal, only this adds our now time since overhaul. So hopefully everybody's aware that we just added that feature, and that allows you to track your overhauls directly on the tails or engines or props. And so this will automatically start inserting that information as well. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some signatory options. So I'm going to go ahead and add myself, my AMP if I have it in the system, and then the signature line. And I'm pretty happy with everything, but obviously I could edit this text further if I wanted to. If I want to delete a few lines because they're not relevant, or perhaps the mechanic, or as they were documenting their work logs, they made some typos, I can still fix all that directly within the logbook entry as well. Generating them just allows you to basically take all that text as your starter. So we're going to save on that. So I have my airframe and my engine, but I still need to go do my prop. So I'm going to just show you what that would look like if we were doing it manually, which you'll also have the option to do. So I'm going to select my propeller, and the same deal. Since we didn't generate this off of our work logs, you just get a blank entry, but we're still going to pull in that metadata that we know about the prop. So we know it's what meter it follows. In this case, it's engine one tach, and we know what its TSOH and TTS values are. And then obviously you have a unique return to service memo if you want on that propeller as well. So I can just go in here and start typing up my logbook entry. Same deal where I'm going to add myself, Inspector Joe, here as the signatory, and I'm going to save that. So now that I have all of my logbook entries created, I'm pretty happy with them. The only thing left to do is to print them off. So I'm going to select which logbook entries I want to print, just showing you that you can still view them here in case you have multiple props, or if you just have multiple entries and you want to pick and choose which one that you want to print. Maybe your prop is ready, but they're still working on the engine, or they're still working on the airframe. So I don't want to print those yet. But you have the option to not print those yet. I'm going to go ahead and select them all and hit print. This particular shop is using a 2x2 label template. We will support several of these. You can also just spit them out onto 8.5 by 11 as well. So I'm going to go ahead and print those, and now those are sitting on the printer ready to be put into the physical logbooks. All right, so back on our overview, we're basically done at this point. We just need to do a little bit of cleanup. So we're going to go into our maintenance reminders and go ahead and resolve these reminders. So again, we're doing our 100-hour inspection. You'll notice that we automatically drop in the associated work order. You can enter your time at completion. Maybe it's not actually 2770 right now, because you completed it, a couple hours ago before you ran some additional time on the aircraft. So we're going to go ahead and resolve that. Go back over here. We also knocked out that squawk, so we want to go ahead and resolve that as well. Same deal where we can say the status of the resolution, but we're also going to associate that work order. And obviously you'll be able to do your reporting and other things based off of that. We'll pull in the corrected by and inspected by and auto-populate that as well with information from the work order. So I'm going to go ahead and click save on that. We'll go back to our overview. We're done now, so we can clear off this maintenance reservation, get the aircraft back out in the field and get it flying again. So I'm going to go ahead and check it in. And again, you can enter updated aircraft times at check-in as well if some additional time was put on the engine. So at this point, we're done. We're going to go through and we're going to enter our actual start date and actual complete date. We're going to close it. We're going to hit save. And at this point, our work order is done and that aircraft is out of the shop. Just going to touch on a few other quick integration points. Again, I mentioned in the high level overview, being able to do research on what maintenance has been performed on the aircraft. There's a lot of time that we feel that can be saved there. So I'm going to take a look at my same tail, and we're going to add two options here, one for work orders and one for logbooks. So if I click on the work orders, I'll see all of the work orders that have been done on this tail. I can see their status. So that gives me just a quick way of seeing all of the work that's been done. But I can also go in and take a look at the actual logbook entries. So I'm going to do that. I've got my airframe, my engine and prop. I'm going to click into the airframe. And again, you're going to see all of those logbook entries that exist on that aircraft as well. So if I expand this one, obviously this is the one that we just did, but this allows me to see the associated work order, when it was completed, what the aircraft times were. We're also going to have a robust search that will let you type in things that you want to search for, all the way down to you could key in a part number and it will search for logbook entries with that part number on it. Or if you did something on the tail, but you kind of remember what you wrote, but you're not quite sure, you can type that in up here and do a search as well. And we'll go out and search all of your logbooks looking for that specific text.